Welcome to the Cricket Betting Podcast for 7Bet in association with CricStats. I'm Ed Hawkins. This is the only podcast in the world which tells you exactly what happens in the biggest cricket games around the world. Follow our betting advice and we win you money, more than 40 points profit in 2025 from the best bets, which do come at the end of the show. We're brought to you by 7bet.co.uk, a fresh sports betting brand that offers such features as early payout, bet builder, betting insights, ACCA booster. More, go to 7bet.co.uk and experience world-class betting for yourself. Let's say hi to Paul Krishnamurty, one of our king cricket tipsters. How are you doing, Paul? And fave bet of the week that we've just had, Paul.
Good question. Okay, so favourite bet I think has to be the my old favourite unders on sixes at the MCG one in a canter. I've had a bit of an annoying week though. Missed a few. I feel like missed out a few, but never mind.
Same question to Richard Mann, although I might answer it for you, Richard. The 10-1 winner on the VIP channel with Mr. Peak.
Yeah,
with Renegades. Yes.
It was. Yeah, we had a really, really good trade in that game as well. We were locked into good profit from the start. To be honest, I was moaning about the bash last week, said it's been frustrating, but roles reversal this week been brilliant, as has the SA20 for me. Stuck with our guns, didn't we, Adelaide, for the runs. We said we'd get a big score there at some point this season, and we really got one on Sunday, so no, it was great.
Best bets from this show come at the end of the show, but we also have tips direct to your device as the games come thick and fast through the week all around the world from myself, Paul and Richard, and we work really hard to find the value across all the markets for these games. If you want to get them, sign up to our VIP channel, which is, of course, in profit. Why wouldn't it be? We're slaving over these stats and data for you. So get subbed up in the comments section below. We'll tell you what is on the show. It's a Super Wednesday. India versus New Zealand is our first game. It's our feature game, second ODI. Then we're over to the Bash for Hobart Hurricanes versus Brisbane Heat. Then we're in SAT20, Sunrisers Eastern Cape versus Joburg Super Kings. We'll give you team news, pitch reports, strategies, trades, player win rates for all those three games. And of course, the best bets will come from those. Just time to tell you about the 0% margin feature at 7Bet Sportsbook. It's designed to offer the best betting odds that do not include the typical margin added by the bookmaker. Check out more of the features on 7bet.co.uk/features. Let's go. It's game one, India versus New Zealand, Wednesday, 0800 Rajkot. India 5's on with Bet365, New Zealand 9-2, Hills Betfred Ball Sports. Possible 11 for you for India: Rohit Gill, Kohli, Shreyas Jadeja, Rahul, Reddy or Ayush Badoni coming in potentially for Washington Sundar, who is out of the series with injury. If they want to go like for like, it's probably going to be Badoni in terms of spin bowling all-rounder, although Badoni's trying his luck perhaps with that. He's only recently converted to a sort of an all-rounder. But Harshit, Kuldeep, Siraj and Prasid finishing the lineup. The Kiwis, as we said last week, severely depleted. Some big players missing for them, but they've got Conway, Nichols, Young, Mitchell, Phillips, Hay, Bracewell, Foulkes, Clark and Jameson. Bracewell power performance at 36.5, lost by half a point for us on this show last week, and his quote goes up to 40.5 with Bet365. Make of that what you will. Mitchell also win on the VIP channel on player performance. His quote has gone through the roof now at 38.5. That's 5 from 10 for those people who were on and aware about how the market's moving. Rajkot, we've only got 4 ODI here, I'm afraid, from 2013 to 2023. 3 of the 4 have busted 300 or more in first innings. India 340 versus Australia in 2020 defended. Australia 3-5-2 against India 2023 defended. Richard, this Kiwi team need a flat one, don't they, to bat first on. That sort of trade worked, as I was discussing in Betty.Betfair column. Betfair Exchange taking a big chunk out of their price. Is that the only way to play with them batting first?
Well, yeah, I think that might have been as close as they could get to India personally. You even look back to that recent ODI tour of Australia, India got better as the series went on. And I just looked at that match from New Zealand. I thought they did so well to get to 300, but it needed a brilliant 100 from Mitchell. And I mean, he could make runs again. And runs from Conway, they're the two linchpins really in that side. Will Young's out of form. Phillips has had no cricket. Hayes come in inexperienced. And to me, if India just get amongst Mitchell or Conway or one of them, I think they'll really struggle New Zealand.
Well, this is a tricky one in terms of match odds, isn't it? Particularly sort of in play, talking about the trade there. I mean, I think about 3 points came off the New Zealand price, batting first. But if you think about it, they've scored 300 and India have gone from, I think, 1.17 to about 1.5 to chase it. So it's hard work, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't appeal to me at all as a trade, really, because if you're going to do that, you might as well bet New Zealand overs on their runs. 300 would be a decent price. I agree with Rich. I think that's as close as they're going to get. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. You look at the limited amount of evidence we've got there, but it doesn't look high-scoring game. I just can't see how New Zealand have got the power to keep up with them, to be honest. And a couple of bets here, a couple of better ways of backing India. 8 to 13, they scored the most sixes with Bet365. I think that's a banker. I mean, their last 6 games, they've hit a minimum of 7 sixes at home. And the line there is over 6.5, but I think New Zealand are going to very much struggle to hit 7 sixes on this. And I would just look at the runs again. I think the par's going to start high, but I do think this is, if India bat first, it's highly, highly likely they're going to get in excess of 320, 330, probably not up to 400 because there's not that many sixes on this ground, but I think that's a really solid middle. If you can just go in about 330 to 380, that's a really good bet.
I think I saw 4 to 6 India, most 4 sixes, and win the match on the Flutter Firms. I think there might have been highest partnership in there as well. So keep an eye on those specials with those 3: Sky Bet, Power Bet, Betfair Sportsbook. If you want to find an easier way to play India, nuggets from Richard.
Well, we put him up last week, didn't we? Another failure for Will Young, but his line's actually gone from 22.5 up to 25.5. That's with 7 bet, clear standout. I've been unders man again. He's just struggling. Will Young struggling for form. He's finding ways to get out, new ways to get out every game, seemingly. So I'd definitely stick with that one.
Paul, we've kind of answered the question about what to do with the pitch, but in play, we had an interest on the Kiwi runs, timing slightly off on VIP, very strong opening partnership unders. And because of that lack of power down the order, do you sort of go extremely low if they get off to a good start, or is there something with India?
Let's wait and see where the line is. There is only limited evidence here. 2 out of the 4 matches saw both teams score 300, so it's possible they could get 300. It could be a road, could easily be a 380 beats 310 game. But at the same time, I mean, I'd need a lot of confidence to bet New Zealand overs, really. I mean, they've got off to a great, great start. They've still only got 300. They had a massive platform. So let's just wait and see. And you say, we'll be watching this. And if the line is out, we'll put something up on the VIP.
Yeah, you can get subbed up to that VIP channel in the comments section below. Any more biz before player bets, Richard?
Well, I to be honest, I'm gagging to back New Zealand unders. If it's a really flat pitch, I probably will leave it. But if I think there's going to be anything in it, they struggled to get to 300. It was a brilliant innings from Mitchell to haul them there after a really strong opening partnership. But that goes with what I'm saying, because in the middle, apart from Mitchell, there just isn't much batting there. Phillips just played no cricket since basically the 100, so you can't blame him for that. Hay inexperience, Young terribly out of form. If you get rid of Conway early and get Mitchell in, I think there could be in big trouble in New Zealand. Like Paul said, it all depends where the market goes, but I could see them not getting 250, 275, even if batting first on a flat one.
Anything more to add, Paul?
No, just player stuff.
Alrighty, let's go to players. We'll talk top bats for India. Give some prices and win rates. Kohli, we mentioned them at the top of the show, 16-5 with Paddy Power for top India bat. He's winning 20% of the time. The big win rate to follow is Rohit, 39%. That's over 2 years. You're getting 7-2 Power, Sky Bet, Betfair Sportsbook. Kiwis, Mitchell, well, we were all very, very keen on last week's show to do the biz. Very, very little to beat, 28% win rate. I think we'll probably be a little bit loose on that because there's such a dearth of ability in this Kiwi side. And 7-2 Bet MGM, Virgin Bet, Sky Bet, Power, Betfair Sports looks a very good price still, despite the 28% win rate. With the bull, Jameson may say, well, he's got nothing to beat as well. I'm surprised he's not a stonking clear favourite, 7-2 Sky Bet, Power, Betfair Sports, but to be top bowler. Richard Mann.
Yeah, I'm with Mitchell again. A good winner for best bets last week. He just got a brilliant record in this. I mean, there's an argument to say he's one of the best ODI players in the world right now, and in a team that's shorn of pretty much anything actually close to world class. I'm surprised he's actually bigger price than he was last week, and we know now how poor the Kiwis are. Bar him, and agree about Jameson as well. He just looks a clear standout for me. Yeah, they'd be the two that both look really solid to me. I probably would go with Rowett actually over Virat because I'm still leaning towards New Zealand like not getting a massive score first up, and Rowett would be a slight advantage on the opening and not three.
Yeah, I'd be looking at Rohit prices to score a 50 when we get some more prices up for that one. Check our channels. There's also a free tips channel available in the comments section below, which you can, well, I suppose you can sort of get warmed up before progressing to the VIP if you wanted to. So we do put tips in the free channel as well. All the podcast best bets get placed on those VIP and free channels as well. So they're written down for you. Or you can use a pen and pencil. There you go. We've got the best bets coming at the end of the show. As I said, a reminder to sign up to 7Bet. If you like our podcast and you want it to keep dropping every single week, they are our partners. So to help us keep coming back, if you could do some sign-ups, that would be much appreciated. Don't forget to sub up to those channels that I mentioned in the comments section. Let's move on to the bash. It's Wednesday.
Just jump in?
Yes.
Can I jump in with the players on the India game? I didn't do
sorry,
players.
So did I miss you?
No, I was going to just endorse what you said. You said go for Sharma 50s. Right.
Yeah.
See, this is the game, I think. I think you've got to focus on India's top order, right? It's a good batting pitch, right? There is a chance that New Zealand could go cheap, so you've got to focus on them. But really, these lines to get 50s and tons, they look underestimated. I mean, right, Kohli, you can get even money over 40.5 with live score. That's a good bet. Shubman Gill, even money over 35.5. I'm going to go with them two personally over Rowett, but, Rowett just as well. And for 50s, you can get 13-10 Kohli with Bet365, 7-4 Shubman Gill. These are really good prices in my book against the weak side.
Yeah, I would be going for the 50s as well. I won't be playing 42. I'd be going 50s with these guys. I mean, Kohli, brilliant player, but he's a stat padder at the end of the day, isn't he? So if he gets to 42, you can bet your bottom dollar would be batting his life to get to 50. So I'd take the bigger price. And to be honest, they're all like that out there. So don't take 42, take 50 and the bigger price.
I mean, you'd be disappointed if you bet that all the top three to make a 50. You'd be disappointed if none of them made it, would you? And there's every chance all three of them do.
Yeah, absolutely. We do say it quite often on this show. You can take others out of the equation if you think a guy's going to get runs, and it is a flat wicket. Then why worry about what other teammates are doing? Just back him for a 50 or a ton or something like that, and take others out of the equation. You're just having one bet then instead of several. So we are going to go to the bash now. It's Hobart Hurricanes versus the Brisbane Heat, 08:15. Wednesday, 8-11, the Hurricanes with Betfred, 11-8, Sky Bet, the Heat. And Hobart should line up like this. Owen Ward Webster, McDermott, Chowdhury, Wade, Rahan, Jordan, Rishad, Meredith, Stanlake, and the Heat, Wildermuth, Kawaja back in the team and captain, by the way. McSweeney, Renshaw, Bryant, Labuschagne back in the team. Pearson, Bartlett, Kuhneman, Balek, Zaman, Bell Reeve, 4 games this season, first innings 3, have busted 175 or more, 57% chase bias at the venue in the last 30. On that filter for your stats, 169 average first innings score, and 11.5 is your average number of sixes. Hobart do look the best side in it. Sixers coming out fast on the rails, but obviously games going on all the time, but might not make top 2. Slip up from Hobart here, Paul, or do they just keep on punching on?
I think they keep punching on. I think it's another case where we're probably going to get a high-scoring game. It's been a high-scoring crowd, the Bell Reeve, and I don't really rate that Brisbane bowling lineup at all. I think they're going to struggle to contain them. They've got every incentive to keep going because you need the top 2 finish. You've got to be, we know that's all important. So no reason to think they won't deliver.
Richard Mann, views on this one?
I'd agree with Paul, actually. I do think Heat are an improved side with Kawaja and Labuschagne coming in. Not natural T20 players, you wouldn't think, but if you think back when they chased down that big score against Perth, it was Wildermuth going mad, it was Renshaw going mad, they had Monroe in the side as well, he's been dropped now. All real aggressive players, and I do think they've lacked something to balance it out, a little bit of class, and they get that now with Kawaja, they get that with Labuschagne as well. So you'll see Wildermuth go mad up top, but know that Kawaja will just accumulate but pretty quickly. So I think the batting looks much better balanced now. I think they can be competitive here in terms of making runs, and I'll counter that in a minute. But ultimately, Hobart, they're just dynamite. I think the batting is so strong. Chaser bias here, they could chase absolutely anything. So high scoring game, but Hobart too strong.
All right, other players from Paul.
I'm quite interested in general at the player to hit most sixes per team markets, and I wish more firms would price it up. 365 do it, Dafabet do it sometimes, but just here, for example, I know he's not known for hitting sixes generally, but Usman Khawaja is 13-2 to hit most sixes for Heat. He got 3 in his first match, right? It's got to be competitive. And for Hobart, Nikhil Chowdhury is 6-1 to hit their most sixes, and he's their top 6 hitter in the tournament, 15. Both look a bit of value for me.
You want to check on individual players' average sixes per match, and via team, go to crickstats.ai, use the code POD25 to get a discount. And I'll have all those stats for you, and you can really find the angles on some of those markets that Paul just mentioned. Richard, other spots?
Yeah, look, I think both teams to score 180 is a real strong bet at 12-5 here. Just because I think Heat are solid, and that they'll be competitive with the bat. Hobart's batting is just outstanding. But probably the 2 players I'll make, I'll try, if Hobart bat first, I'll try and bat them to make 200 or more. I think you'll get 2-1 on the Betfair exchange. I just think they're just a gun batting unit. If they're batting second, I'd hope that Heat can make a big score, and I'll probably place an order at maybe 3.0 to try and back Hobart in running. I honestly believe they could chase 220, 230, particularly on this ground with the chaser bias. I think runs is key. And look, we had a poor game against strikers here last time. It didn't quite live up to expectations. But earlier in the season, Perth made a massive score here, and Hobart made a really good fist of chasing it down. I think Thunder made 180 here. That was both teams to score 180 game. You've got to stick with what you think, and I think we all agreed all season that Hobart is a really good pitch for runs. Just because we've had one quiet game, don't naturally assume it's going to turn. I mean, we could have done that with Adelaide. We knew it was a good pitch, and then the game day on Sunday, there was things on the coverage. Oh, it's a dry pitch, this one. 2 150 scores here so far this season. It might only be a 160, 170, but we know the numbers tell us from the previous years, no, you need 180 generally. and we stuck to our guns. And I think that's true with Hobart, and it's just a wider lesson actually. You're going to get some iffy results here and there, but what we do know is generally this is a really good place to bat.
It certainly is. And don't forget that Heat conceded 250 against Perth. So we're not convinced by that. Heat bowling, and fingers crossed they do bat well. They chase to win that game against Perth. So they can whack it. Let's go to player markets now and talk about some of those Hobart batters. Ben McDermott, 1 win in A. His form is okay. He's very much in the win zone. 4-1 Boyle Sports top Hobart bat. Bo Webster is very, very interesting. He was carded at number 3 in the washout against Sixers. Not sure that he will bat there, but it'd be great if he does, because you can get 5-1 Sky Bet, Betfair Sportsbook Power, and he does win at a rate of 18% the last 2 years. Of course, made the move from Melbourne Stars to Hobart. Labuschagne, very, very interesting one. I want to get Richard's view on him in a bit. 2 wins in 10, spread over 3 years, I think. Obviously doesn't play very much in the Bash. 15-2 Bet Victor, carded at 6 last time. I'm not sure whether he continues to be down there at number 6. Bartlett's overdue a win on top bowler, 14-5. We know win rate is in our favour. Hills is the price. Paul?
I like 2 bets here. Firstly, your old favourite, Rishad Hussain, right, who we know delivers, is consistently underpriced. He's 15-4 to be top Hobart wicket taker with live score bet and BetMGM. And yet he's their second highest wicket taker on 11 wickets. That's got to be a bit of value. And the other one, it's not quite as good as last week's 15.5 line, but 18.5 runs for Nick Al-Chowdhury. He's beaten it 18 times out of 24 in his competition and last 6 in a row.
Proper player. I wouldn't be surprised to see Chowdhury playing for Australia at some point. Richard, talk to me about Labuschagne or something else entirely.
No, yeah, I'm glad you brought it up. 15-2 looks a little bit big, doesn't it? You're right, he was carded at 6. I agree, I can't see him staying there. I mean, McSweeney's looked out on Nick, hasn't he? So they could easily make a switch there. Labuschagne in at number 3. One thing, if you're looking to bet in play, 2 wrist spinners for Hobart leg spinners, they'll definitely want a left-hander in there to combat that. So I think if Khawaja gets out, Renshaw will go in. If Khawaja stays in, they might not feel the need to get another lefty, and that could push Labuschagne up. That's one if you're wanting to bet the top batsman market in play. Just keep an eye on that. Mitch Owen's really interesting. I wouldn't bet probably anyone top batsman for Hobart because I think it's competitive heat. And Owen, he might not win it because he's certainly not going to try and grind out a score, but he is ticking to explode, Mitch Owen. Obviously took this competition by storm last season, blistering start against the strikers. I feel that he could easily make like a 20 ball 50 somewhere along the way. Might not even win the market, but probably win the man of the match market, and he's more like 9 and 10-1 for that. I just think he's really close, and on a flat one like this, I think that'd be the way I go with him if you fancy Hobart. I'd rather take the 9-10-1. And he bowls a bit as well, but if he made like a really quick 50, that might just be enough to win him it.
Okie dokie. All done for the Bash. Can I move on to the SAT 20? I think that's a yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Sunrisers Eastern Cape versus Joburg Wednesday at 3:30, 15:30. Sunrisers 4-5, Hills, Betfred, and Joburg Super Kings 6-5. Ladbrokes 10 bet, Betway, Coral, Sky Bet Power, Betfair Sportsbook. This is second versus third as we record. On terms of net run rate, Sunrisers probably the strongest team in it. They're +2 and a bit more in a tournament which has basically been ruined by the weather. I'm talking about this was Paul just before we came on air. Durban have had 3 games washouts all over the shop. No rhythm to the tournament. Very difficult to work out what players are and how they're tuning up. I'll give you some teams. Sunrisers, De Kock, Bairstow, Breitsker, Jordan Herman, Stubbs, Janssen, Greggy, Muthusamy, Nokia, Milner, and Ratnayaka. JSK, now there's a season-ending thumb injury probably for Faf du Plessis. So we've got Vincent Pepper opening the batting, De Villiers, and then Mulder who, if you're on the VIP channel, you may well be on the 7-1 with Hills, top run scorer for this tournament. That was an alert sent out because Hills had been slow to realise that Faf was out and Mulder was batting at 4. Forrester, Pereira, Akil, Sabrayan, Berger and Worrell. Now, coming into the middle order probably will be one of 3, Stolk, Munasamy or Neil Timmers. Now, all 3 of those, they are nothing to write home about, I'm afraid. They don't have records which would suggest that we need to be rushing to back JSK or either one of those 3 for top bat. So that's the churn with Joburg. St George's Park is the venue. Scores are 188, 146, 158 this season. Last 30 average score is 149 in first innings. 57% bias for the chaser. 8.7 is the average number of sixes per match. Richard, Sunrisers looking strong for the top 2. Net run rate is great, but they've had 2 washouts as well. So it's a tricky tournament. We're almost at the end. We're not really sure where the power is in this league.
Yeah, it's been really frustrating, hasn't it? I think the teams have been hard to success, thankfully. And I mean, Paul flagged it up last week. There's some of the grounds you've been able to just follow the trends. We had a massive score, didn't we, at the weekend? And then a really low score at Pal, so that ran to form. But the teams themselves are quite hard to get a proper handle on. I haven't been blown away by Sunrise, I have to be honest. But they're just efficient, aren't they? And they kind of just know how to get the job done. I hate that cliche, but they do. But I definitely don't think they're an outstanding side. I think, if MI Cape Town, for instance, turn up at the best, I think they'd be too strong for Sunrisers. But they are where they are, and they're obviously going to progress.
They've never failed to make a final, of course, the SEC. Paul, I mean, you're quite keen on taking on odds on favourite in this tournament because the rhythm's been upset.
Yeah, I've got to say though, I'm slight point of disagreement for a change with Rich there. I do rate this lot. I think they're good SEC, considering they've had a lot of churn. They've ripped up the whole side. You look at that top 5: De Kock, Bairstow, Bretsky, Herman, Stubbs. There's a lot of runs there. There's a lot of power there. And they've got Norkia, it's a game-changing bowler. One thing I would say here, because I'm not that keen on JSK generally, but one thing I would say is if you look at the last couple of games here, spin does pretty well at St George's, and I'd rather have Akil, Sabrayan, and they've got Imran Tahir on the bench. So if it was a used pitch and a bit dry, they could well come into it, JSK, on that ground.
Donovan Ferreira might be a bowler as well. Don't forget, one of those pound-for-pound players who can just do everything. One of the best players in the world across all formats, Donovan Ferreira. We might have a look for player performance points, potentially for him. We will move on to player win rates now. No, we won't. I must go back to Richard out and just say any other business, Rich.
Well, I want to get Paul's view on this as well. Just this first game of the season here, 188, as you said, and I remember reading about that game as well, and one of the captains said, what a good pitch it had been, but then it was a 146, and then I watched the game on Sunday, a lot of the game on Sunday, and it was hard work, and they only just got home. Sunrisers nearly pulled it back, so he nearly defended a low score, and it was hard work, it's big old ground this as well. I think you were under 6s, weren't you, Paul, in the VIP? And I just wondered, another game, quick turnaround, like you said, potential for use pitch. I just wondered if we could get a good unders bet up here. I'd love to I will be monitoring the commentary and trying to find out if it's a use pitch. And if it is, I think I'll be playing unders first innings. And particularly Sunrisers, actually, with all that spin against them.
No, yeah, you've read my mind, Rich. So first of all, on the 188, that ended up being a terrible score. I think par went up to like 220 or something in running, but it just got really hard to score at the end, right? And I think that's another angle in running that it gets harder. It's not a good place to score at death generally. So I've got a couple of bets here. First of all, the unders on sixes. Not everyone's up, but the flutter firms are up at 12.5. That's landed 16 out of 20 games in SA20. Right. We got 13.5 the other day, was even better, but anything like that's amazing. And another little bet I found with 7bet is the highest scoring over in the match, 20.5. Right, which again, given the nature of it's a big ground, hard to hit sixes. That's an unders, and I looked through the past of it. That's landed in 15 out of 20 SA20 games.
A great stuff. A 7bet prize to take advantage of, and as a offer, by the way, for listeners of the podcast, bet £10, get a £10 free bet using the promo code WFB10 with 7bet. First deposit minimum £10 stake, minimum Oz even money, maximum winnings £100, 5-day expiry, bonus T's and C's apply. Let's move on to player win rates. Sunrisers will start with Britska, 0 wins so far from his 4, but his form is very good. I've got him down as a 4-1 chance on how often he actually wins. You get 9-2 Hills. Joburg Super Kings top bat, we've already spoken about that, 7-1 about Mulder. VIP followers were alerted to it. Just a word on Ferreira as well, 9-1. Top bat, Hills, Quinbet, Betfred, and an old favourite of ours, 50-1. If this is a pitch which is a bit of a dung heap, which Rich and Paul seem to be alluding to, Hills, Quinbet, Betfred, we don't mind a gamble on a keel every now and again. Richard.
Well, Vince has found his form, hasn't he? For Joburg, looks brilliant.
Well, as we said, as we questioned, didn't we, Rich? When was he going to do it?
Well, I was going to send
overdue. It was about 20 games.
I was going to do a Jonathan Agnew and send him back to county cricket. But look, he's found his form, brilliant. Look, if top of the order's the best place to bat, he might be well placed. Definitely won't put you off a few quid. Akil, I thought you might say Sabrayan as well, actually, Ed, because I know you were on him, weren't you, a while ago at a big price. The other one for Sunrisers, I've looked now, and you may not get it, player performance points. Thought Lewis Gregory was interesting. He's just a really handy T20 player. He played well at the weekend. He got a wicket, didn't bowl much, but I could see him bowling a bit more, actually, if it's a used pitch with those cutters. Handy batter down the order, just a good cricketer. If you can get sort of a late 20s player performance line, I don't know if you will, it's early days yet, but I think he could have a good game, Lewis Gregory.
Well, what you got?
Quite a few, actually, depending on team selection, really. So I noticed he wasn't in your lineup. If Richard Gleeson is in the lineup, 130 top wicket taker with 365 stands out. His strike rate is far superior to the rest of that side. Another one, don't know if he'll play, but just completely the wrong price. James Coles, who was in the lineup last time, but it got rained off for SEC. He's a number 4 batsman. 18-1 bet 365, 17-1 with the flutter firms. Right? So that's wrong. For JSK, we've mentioned him before, Shubham Ramjani, he's 12-1 with BetMGM live score. That's a big price. And then finally, on that most sixes per team market, Quinton de Kock, 4-1, most sixes for SEC. He's hit 15 out of their 36 in the tournament, 8 clear the next best. And the openers have definitely got an advantage on this track, I think.
Lovely stuff. James Coles, I remember very early on in the VIP, in its sort of early days, James Coles for most sixes in a 100 match, and just looking at he's 18-1 to hit the most. Is it 4s with Bet365? Yeah, he is. And just some more prices on that. Donovan Ferreira 21-10, Joburg most sixes. Going back to Coles, well, 12-1. There you go. Most match sixes. He can give it a biff, James Coles.
Good player.
He is a good player. That is the definition of being underrated. And we okay to move on to best bets?
We are.
We are. All right. Both Paul and Richard have 5 units to spend. across those 3 games that we have discussed. Let's go to Richard Mann first.
Right, okay, I'll kick off then. 1.5 points, under 25.5 runs for Will Young in the India-New Zealand ODI. That's with 7bet. And then same game, 1 point, Daryl Mitchell, top New Zealand batsman at 7-2. That's with the Flutter Firms. And then just a big bash game. Half a point, both teams to score 180 runs at 12-5. That's with the Flutter Firms. And then just listen carefully to this. I'm going to 1 point, place an order to back Hobart Hurricanes, first innings runs 200 or more at 3.0, 2-1. I think you'll probably get that. Now, if Hobart are batting second, place an order again at 3.0, 2-1. Hobart to win the match. Hopefully, they're chasing a big score, and I think they'll chase it down. Obviously, one of them may well be voided. Great
stuff. Before we go to Paul, a free bet for you, courtesy of the Cricket Betting Podcast with 7bet.co.uk. It's that promo code WFB10, a £10 free bet, minimum deposit of £10, minimum £10 stake, minimum Oz even money, maximum winnings £100. So that's courtesy of the Cricket Betting Podcast. Has Paul Krishnamurty got his best bets ready? Maybe you might use your promo code for one of these, Paul.
So I am going to have a 2 points double. At the moment, the best prices for these are with Bet365. I might change this on the group because not everyone's up. India to hit most sixes for New Zealand, 8-13, and under 20.5 highest scoring over in SEC v JSK. And then the other 3 points, I'll split it 1.5 points bet. Shubman Gill to get a 50, 7-4, Bet365, and Virat Kohli to get a 50 at 30-10 with Bet365 live score, BetMGM.
There we go. That's the Cricket Betting Podcast. Those are the best bets which are returning massive profits over the course of a year. We're into a new year now, 2026, and we expect another bookie bashing season. The Cricket Betting Podcast is brought to you by 7bet. Do sign up if you want us to keep coming back to give you all the info what is going to happen in the biggest games around the world. Sub up to that VIP channel in the comments section below, and we will see you next time.